Hello, everyone. Welcome to our English Learning Podcast. I am Leena, and today we will learn how to talk to your teacher in a simple and confident way. We will use easy words, short sentences, and practical examples, just like daily conversations. By the end of this episode, you will feel ready to speak politely and clearly with your teacher. If you learned something from this video, so don't forget to subscribe. Let's begin and have fun learning together. Chapter 1. Why talking to your teacher matters. When we sit in a classroom, we often listen more than we speak. Many learners think that speaking to the teacher is not necessary, but it is very important. When you speak to me, I can understand your doubts, and I can guide you in a better way. If you stay silent, your problems remain hidden, and learning becomes slower. You have always been told that learning is about listening, but it is also about asking. When you ask a question, you open a small door to new knowledge. I remember that yesterday one of you looked confused, but you said nothing. Later, when I explained again, the confusion disappeared. This shows that if you had spoken earlier, your problem would have been solved quickly. In every class, there are moments when you may not understand. Sometimes you will feel shy, sometimes you will feel nervous. That is normal. Still, you must try to use your voice. If you say, "Teacher, I did not understand this part," I will always repeat, explain slowly, or give another example. I have seen many students in the past. The ones who talked to me regularly improved faster. They were not always correct, but they were always learning. On the other hand, students who stayed silent carried their mistakes for a long time. So I want you to remember, speaking to your teacher is not disturbing. It is part of learning. The more you speak, the more you grow. Learning is not only listening. Learning is also sharing your voice. Chapter 2. Simple phrases to begin a conversation. Sometimes you want to talk to me, but you do not know how to start. Beginning a conversation may feel difficult. If you use the wrong words, you may feel embarrassed. That is why you must learn some easy and polite phrases. When you use them, you will sound confident, and I will understand you clearly. One good way is to say, "Excuse me. May I ask a question?" This phrase is short and respectful. Another useful line is, "Could you please explain this part again?" With these words, you show respect, and you also show that you want to learn. Sometimes you do not need long sentences. If you are shy, you can use very small phrases. You can simply say, "Teacher, I do not understand." These words are simple, but they are powerful. I always listen when a student speaks with honesty. In the past, many learners thought that they needed perfect grammar before speaking. That is not true. I remember when one of you once said only, "Please help me." The grammar was not perfect, but the meaning was clear. I understood and I explained again. The courage to speak is always more important than perfect words. If I am busy, you should wait politely and then say, "Can I ask about this point?" If you are in doubt, you may also raise your hand. Small actions like these show good manners, and they make communication easier. Remember, these simple phrases are not only for the classroom. You will use them in many places, in college, in your office, or even in daily life. A polite beginning always creates a good connection. So never be silent because of fear. Start with small words, and every big conversation will become possible. Chapter 3: How to Ask Questions Clearly. When you speak to me, the way you ask a question is very important. A clear question always brings a clear answer. If your words are not clear, I may not understand what you really need. That is why you must learn to ask questions in a simple and correct way. There are two main types of questions. One type can be answered with yes or no. For example, you can ask, "Is this correct?" Or "Do we have homework?" These are called closed questions. They are short and easy, but they give only limited answers. The second type is open questions. These begin with words like what, why, how, when, where. For example, why is this answer different? Or how can I use this word in a sentence? These questions give me the chance to explain more. They open a bigger door for learning. Sometimes you may feel nervous. You may think your sentence is not perfect. Do not worry, even if your grammar is not correct. I will still understand you if you speak slowly and clearly. You can also use your hand to point or show the line in your book. These small actions help me to know what you mean. I have seen many students in the past. The ones who asked clear questions learned faster. They were not afraid to say, "Teacher, what does this mean?" Or "When should I use this tense?" Their voices were simple, but their learning was deep. So remember, a question is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of interest. The more clearly you ask, the better I can guide you. Every clear question is a step closer to better English. Chapter 4: Expressing Problems and Feelings. When you are learning, it is natural to face problems. Sometimes you will not understand a word. Sometimes you will forget a rule. At other times you may feel shy, nervous, or even afraid to speak. These feelings are normal, but you must know how to express them. If you tell me your problem, I can help you. If you hide it, the problem becomes bigger. One simple way is to say, "I am confused about this part." This shows me that you need another explanation. Another useful phrase is, "Can you please repeat?" With these words, I will know that I must slow down and explain again. When you feel shy, you may want to stay silent. But silence never solves confusion. If you say, "I did not understand the last example," I will be happy to give you a new example. Even if you make mistakes while speaking, I will not judge you. I am here to guide you, not to laugh at you. I remember one student from the past. She often said, "Teacher, I feel nervous when I read aloud." Because she shared her feeling, I gave her extra practice in a safe way. Slowly, her confidence grew. If she had stayed silent, she would not have improved. Your feelings are part of your learning. Happiness, fear, or confusion, all of them belong in the classroom. By telling me how you feel, you make learning easier for both of us. So always remember this. Expressing your problems and feelings is not a weakness. It is a brave step. Speak with honesty and you will find support. Every time you share, you make the path of learning smoother. Chapter 5: Building a Better Relationship. Learning is not only about books and lessons. It is also about the relationship between you and me. When the relationship is strong, learning becomes easier and more enjoyable. A good connection is built with respect, honesty, and kindness. One important step is to show gratitude. You can say, "Thank you for explaining," or "I learned something new today." These simple words give me happiness, and also encourage me to teach better. Respect is not only in words, it is also in actions. Listening carefully, keeping your books ready, and paying attention are all signs of respect. Another step is giving feedback politely. If you feel that a method is difficult, you can say, "Teacher, can we try another way?" These words are not rude. They are helpful because they tell me what you need. In the past, many students shared their feelings about the lessons, and it helped me improve my teaching. A good relationship also grows when you show effort. When I see you practicing, even if you make mistakes, I feel proud. I remember one student who always said, "I will try again." That small sentence showed determination. His effort created trust between us, and he improved quickly. Never forget, teachers are not judges, we are guides. If you see me as a helper, not as someone who only gives marks, you will feel more free to talk. Respect works both ways. I respect your effort, and you respect my guidance. So let us build a classroom where trust is strong, where questions are welcome, and where mistakes are part of learning. With this relationship, every lesson becomes not only about English, but also about growth and confidence.